Okay, let's have a look at files and folders and things like that and how to go about it. First, just try and describe a little bit about a folder structure. Now, by default, when you load up a USB stick, and we'll just assume that we're using a USB stick, I've got one connected to my computer at the moment as we speak, so we'll be able to deal with that, and it's come up as F drive. Usually on a computer you have A and B drives are normally allocated for floppy disks if you have that old technology. C drive, D drive are often your hard drives, and then your CDs and any extra things that you put in, CDs, DVD drives, end up being E drive, F drive, etc. So mine's come up as F drive. If you think of your USB or your hard drive or anything like that as like a family tree, so at the top of the tree will be your root directory, and we refer to that in old DOS terms with a backslash. So underneath that you might have a whole lot of other folders, and we're just looking at as like a family tree type environment. And all of these folders will have names. So for example, this one might be called My Documents. This one here might be called Programs. And over here we might have our stuff that we're doing for school, so we'll just call it Schoolwork. And then over here maybe we'll just call it Games. So we've got this folder structure. And then underneath these you can have more folders. So this one might be Docs, and maybe this one we'll call Spreadsheets. And then under here lots of other folders, and then under here maybe a structure could be, you know, your library management stuff, maybe your IT, and maybe OHS, for example. Under IT you could have another folder there called Apps, and one over here for our web stuff, etc. So the path to get to this folder, you just follow the tree down. So root directory, school, IT, down to web. So if we were to write that in terms, it would be slash at the top, school, next one down, IT, in here, and web. And so that is the path for that folder here. And in normal web sort of terms, if you're creating a HTML page, so let's just go into here, let's say we're doing our photo gallery project, so we'll just call it gallery, and in here you'll have all your HTML files, and then you'll have another folder underneath where you might store your images. So if you go into the top of the tree, you put the slash in front. If it's on the same level underneath, then you don't include the slash in front. So if we are here with our HTML files here in this gallery folder, if we want to refer to this images folder over here, we just refer to it as images. We don't need to put any slash in front. And if there's a file in here called photo.jpg, then because it's the next level, we would then refer to that as photo.jpg. And that is the path. And you'll notice in HTML, you know, we would put it inside little quote marks and things like that. So that's how it refers to when we do all of the stuff in our HTML, when we're looking at paths and file equals and source equals and things like that. So that's the way a structure works. So I'm just going to close that down now for the moment. What's loaded there, but we'll just close it down, I'm going to save it. So now it's going to go into my folder here down the bottom. This is the F drive that I was talking about, my folder structure. At the moment I just have a whole lot of files on it, I don't actually have any folders. So to create a folder, I'm at the root level, so it's just F colon. If I create a folder, just click on new folder, it opens up down here, and I'll just put in here, and we'll just assume our photo gallery, and I'll call it gallery, and press enter to accept it. If I'm going to open up that folder, I can open up the folder, see up here it comes up, it's now gallery, and there's nothing in it. If I want to create some folders inside that, same thing, new folder, and this one could be images. We can go new folder, and this one could be other files when I learn how to type, etc. Okay, welcome back. Here's my current file structure. It's on the F drive, which is a little USB stick. We've created a folder called gallery, and underneath that folder called gallery we've created one called images and one called other files. So if we have a look at that in our picture format, just bring it back up here, and we've got our F drive, root directory. Underneath that we have our folder called gallery, and then underneath that we have a folder called images, and over this side we have a folder called other files. Let me just bring that up again to have a look. Gallery, the top, images and other files on the same level. So minimize that. If we were to refer to that as a diagram, but as a thing, the way we would refer to it is F. So if we had a file in here called other files called let's say it's called my file .docx, then it would be called F. Root directory is the top of the tree. Gallery, next level down. So we go there, down, down to there. So we put a slash in between. Other files, slash, and my file .docx. So that's the full path of this file here. But if we're already here in this folder other files, then we would just refer to that file as my file .docx. We don't need to refer to any path. It depends on where we are. If we're over here, then of course we would use the full path that we've got down here, this F gallery, etc. So it really just depends on where we are, so we'd use that. So in our HTML, if gallery is where our HTML files are, and our image files are down here, and let's say we've got a file called index.html, then if I'm referring to a file down here called dog.jpg, then it would be just images slash dog.jpg. So we don't need to incorporate anything because it's underneath. We're here already, we're only going straight underneath. So in HTML terms, the source or anything like that would be that. So that's how we refer to files. So if you just think of it as a family tree and you look at the path that you go to get to it, then you can work out where you are and what the name of the file is. In HTML though, and web pages, it's very, very important that you actually, as much as possible, try and deal with things that are relative. So for example, if I'm here in this file here and I want to refer to this file down here, just do it relatively based on the position you're in, because browsers will get mixed up. And please do not include the drive reference, the F:, E:, or anything like that, because when you plug your stick into another computer, it might not come up as F drive. If I put this into my computer at work, it may come up as an E drive. On my laptop, because I've got a C drive and a D drive already in the computer, and I also have a DVD drive which comes up as E, the first available drive happens to be F. But as it said, it just depends on your situation, how your drive has been set up, to what a USB stick will come up to. So it might work if you use F drive or E drive. Like in my case, if I used F drive here at home, it'll probably work. But if I was to take this stick and try and run this file up here on another computer, and if it doesn't come up as F, then this reference here, down here, just won't work. So you've got to try and keep things relative, because the idea is with a web page is that you load it up to the internet, and once you've loaded it up to the internet, you'll find that there is no drive references or anything like that, and it will only allow you to refer to them relatively. So it's just a trap to be careful of.